Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Jim's Movie Musings. I trust you all enjoyed the outtakes episode that my editor was gracious enough to put together. It was really nice of him to find something to do with all of that unused footage sitting around in my hard drive and to score it on top of all of that with a bit of public domain music. But now we go back to our regularly scheduled programming. Wouldn't you guys believe it? In 2 months, we'll be seeing yet another Marvel Studios movie. We'll get to see Benedict Cumberbatch don the Cloak of Levitation as Doctor Strange in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Not only that, we'll get to see the additional treat of Cumberbatch playing different versions of Doctor Strange. As we've seen in the trailer, we got evil Doctor Strange with the trippy ponytail, and perhaps most intriguingly, zombie Doctor Strange. And I gotta tell you, I'm really looking forward to that movie. In the meantime, though, if you can't wait that long to see Benedict Cumberbatch, you might want to check him out in the highly decorated, multiple Academy Award nominated film, The Power of the Dog, directed by Jane Campion and now streaming on Netflix. This film, on its surface, is very simple. It's the story of two brothers, Phil and George Burbank, played by Cumberbatch and Jesse Plemons, and how their lives change drastically when George marries a widow, Rose, played by Kirsten Dunst, who brings her son Peter to live with the Burbanks on their ranch in Montana. Now, this movie, if it sounds vaguely familiar, it might evoke memories for some of you of the 1994 film Legends of the Fall, in which you had three brothers played by Brad Pitt, Aidan Quinn, and Henry Thomas. And one of them brought home his fiancée, whom the other two brothers fell for. And that ended up with a lot of sex and intrigue. This movie is kind of like that, except for three brothers, imagine two. And instead of the brother desiring the bride, imagine the brother instead psychologically tormenting her and her son. So in short, not much similarity at all. Sorry about that. Anyway, that's basically the plot. There's not much to it, but it is a fascinating character study, and it is really, really mesmerizing to see Benedict Cumberbatch immerse himself in this role. I mean, we've seen him play unpleasant characters before, like in Sherlock and even in Doctor Strange. I mean, we basically know that Stephen Strange, has a very abrasive personality before he becomes a superhero, and even a little bit after that. But Phil Burbank is a completely different animal from anything that Cumberbatch has portrayed on screen before, big or small. This character is casually cruel, and he is just utterly mean-spirited. I mean, there's something that really gets under your skin about how cruel he is to Kirsten Dunst's widow. He basically drives her to the drink, by tormenting her with words, with mocking gestures. It's kind of it's part drama, it's part thriller, it's part commentary on human nature, and it's really fascinating to watch. It's a bit of a slow burn, okay, and truth, if it weren't for these really compelling performances, not just by Cumberbatch, but by Jesse Plemons, by Dunst, and by Cody Smith McPhee, who plays her effeminate son Peter. If it weren't for these compelling performances, the story would feel a little bit thin, because it kind of is. But thanks to these magnificent turns by these actors, it's an extremely engaging 2 hours, and who would have thought that that the girl who played Mary Jane in Spider-Man all those years ago had such a performance in her. I mean, it's really fascinating to watch, and like I said, Cumberbatch is simply operating on another level here. It would have been so easy to make him a cardboard cutout villain, but no, he infuses his character with so much nuance that to it's impossible to turn away from him, when he's really in the groove here. So yeah, I mean, it may sound like I'm hyping this movie up quite a bit, but like I said, it's worth watching for the performances, even if the story is a little thin. And it's also worth watching because the New Zealand countryside, which basically portrays 1920s Montana, is also utterly breathtaking to behold. So, what would I give this movie? Well, like I said, the story's a little thin, but the acting and the cinematography more than make up for it. So, I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. Yeah, so definitely worth checking out. All right, and that's it for this episode. Hope you guys liked it. And I'll be back real soon with another review. For the noobs, if you like this video, remember to give me a like and a subscribe.